What highly unlikely event have you experienced? We live in a rural town with a very, and I mean very low percentage of Spanish people. Last census it was something like 98 white, 1 black and 0.67 Latino, or other. Long story short, there are 2 kids in this town with the same first, middle and last name. Both are the same age and their birthday in the same month. If that's not crazy enough, his father and I have the same first name as well. It's caused a ton of issues with sports registrations, camp and whatnot, as people through the town thought it was a duplicate entry as the first and last name uncommon around here. I used to make up a lot of random shit when I was a kid, around 10-12 years old. I remember telling some friends that there were little nanobots that could eat through steel, and that they had eaten through the chain on my bike. Of course they didn't believe me. Yeah, you made that up, that's impossible. At that exact moment another boy rode past on his bike, and his chain just randomly snapped. They were all in awe and no longer doubted me. I can only imagine they must have believed it for years after that. When I was little we rescued a pit bull mastiff that was going to be put down. At first she was very aggressive and tried to bite us, but after months of socialization and love she turned into a sweetheart. One day my dad took me and my little brother on the boat. When we jumped off the back she started freaking out. Eventually she bit onto a life jacket and jumped into the water and swam it out to us. Still brings a tear to my eye. Fell 30-something foot snowboarding, caught up, walked away with a small area of high spinal cord damage and long-term neuroinflammation that required imaging. 3 years later, immune system severs my spinal cord at C5-6 over the course of 5-ish days, paralyzing me from the chest down age 27. Neurologists can't find someone in my country's records with the same injury, assumed disease and outcome. Mine is pretty minor, but also pretty unlikely. Last week my GF and I watched a random Simpsons episode S81 5 Homophobia. The next day I'm hanging out with my best friend and we discover he had watched that same episode a few days earlier with another friend. There are 765 episodes of The Simpsons. Total solar eclipse, clearing out a 10-story, fully running 100-year-old sugar factory from top to bottom, searching for a gunman on the 4th of July. Or fireworks that exploded outside, eating a live octopus, standing atop the tallest mountain in the continental US, and lightning struck the signpost next to me. I've had 121 and counting surgeries in 28.5 years of life. Not exactly millions to one for all of them, but I've only met one other person who's even had half they'd had 87, and theirs were a result of having gone off to war, and just simultaneously very unlucky and lucky, medically speaking. Stood on my balcony in New England, and watched a crew of Norwegians in a Viking longship appear on the horizon, and sail directly into my town's harbour. The churches even played along by tolling all the warning bells. Pretty unlikely to witness in the 21st century. Went to a Major League Baseball game where the home team was down 3 with 2 outs in the 9th, and loaded the bases and won on a grand slam. Only happened twice in Major League history up to that point, and I was at one of them. When I was a smoker, I liked TP have one on the toilet. One day I went into the bathroom and found my lighter standing on its edge. Here's a recreation using a piece of tape because I could try all day and not get it to work. First got cancer in 1993. In 2003 they told me to get my affairs in order. I had 6 months. In 2021 they told me it spread to my bones and lungs. They gave me 5 years. In 2023, 2 years down and feeling about 90. I won a national sweepstakes. It was all expenses paid trip to the Marlborough Ranch. ATVs, shotguns, cattle ranch type shit. Very fun and random. Also was on Family Feud. Was at home with my sister and her boyfriend, now brother-in-law, and an armed home invasion happened. You don't know fear until you experience that kind of fear. I live in rural Tennessee. 0 years ago, I was on vacation on a small island in Europe and looked up to see my neighbors coming down the stairs. Was driving down a suburban road as a shooter was having a spree on all cars passing by. I was not injured, but my car had two windows blown out. My daughter was born with a true knot in her umbilical cord. Her doctor was ecstatic, as it is apparently quite rare. Grew up dirt poor, went to university, saved and invested. Had my first $1 million at age 50. Now a multimillionaire. I once cracked a grocery store egg, and there was a dead chick inside. Haven't gotten an egg with 2 yolks yet though. I was outside within range of 3 Mile Island when it almost melted down and released radiation.